let's dive in. We're looking at a really ancient class of substances today.
Opioids.
Exactly, opioids.
Yeah.
Used for millennia, right, for pain relief.
That's right.
So our mission for this deep dive, cut through the noise, pull out the key insights from our sources on what they actually are, how they affect our bodies, and, well, the critical info. You really need to understand the effects and, importantly, the risks.
And it's fascinating, really. Opioids work by interacting with very specific receptors in our central nervous system.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Our bodies make their own opioids. Endorphins.
Wow, okay. Endorphins.
Yeah.
Like the runner's high thing?
Sort of, yeah. They naturally reduce nerve transmission, affect emotion centers in the brain. It's our built-in pain management.
So it's deeply wired into us.
Precisely. Which explains why external opioids, by essentially mimicking our endorphins, can be so effective.
Right, makes sense.
But also why they can really disrupt that natural balance.
So they kind of hijack the system. Or boost it. And what forms do these external ones take? Our sources show a huge range.
A really wide range.
From, natural poppy derivatives all the way to completely lab-made stuff.
Yeah, things like oxycodone. You might know it as indone or Percocet.
Or fentanyl, which is incredibly potent.
Extremely potent, found in patches, lozenges sometimes.
And people take them in different ways too, right? Not just swallowing pills.
Oh, definitely. Swallowing is common, sure, but also snorting, injecting, even rectally.
And the effects, they don't last the same amount of time for all of them.
Not at all. It varies wildly. It could be as short as, say, 15 minutes.
15 minutes? That's quick.
Yeah, or it could be up to 36 hours. And some types can stay active in your system for days, even.
Okay, so that variety in form and how long they last must mean the effects are pretty diverse, too.
They are. They hit you physically, emotionally, psychologically. It's complex.
What are the big physical risks we need to know about?
Well, the really serious ones, slowed breathing is a major one, decreased heart rate, okay, and respiratory depression. That's where breathing gets dangerously shallow or even stops.
Which can lead to
hypoxia, lack of oxygen, which can cause brain damage or even death. It's critical.
Beyond the physical, you mentioned psychological effects.
Right. Initially, there might be euphoria, maybe well-being, but also moodiness, depression, confusion, sometimes even paranoia. And a huge factor is the constant stress or anxiety.
About what?
About getting the next dose. Just to avoid feeling sick, to avoid withdrawal.
That fear of withdrawal. It sounds like it takes over. That really highlights the dependence issue, doesn't it?
It really does. Physical dependence is a huge part of it.
So what happens long term? What are those withdrawal symptoms like?
They can be brutal. We're talking severe muscle and bone pain, intense anxiety, cramps, irritability, insomnia.
Wow.
And they can kick in fast, within hours of the last use sometimes.
Hours. That's incredibly quick. So given all this, what about safer use, harm reduction?
Absolutely crucial. Harm reduction is key. Simple principles first. Start low, go slow. Always.
Makes sense. Don't overdo it, especially if you don't know the strength.
Exactly. And maybe the most vital piece of advice. Carry naloxone. Always.
Naloxone. That's the overdose reversal drug.
Yes. It can literally reverse an opioid overdose. It saves lives. Everyone should know about it, maybe even carry it.
And mixing opioids with other things.
Extremely dangerous. Polydrug use is a major risk. Opioids plus alcohol or other depressants like benzos.
Like Valium or Xanax.
Right. That combination massively increases the risk of respiratory failure. Breathing just stops.
And with stimulants.
Also risky, but different. Things like amphetamines or cocaine with opioids put immense strain on the heart, can lead to cardiac arrest.
Okay, so naloxone and avoiding mixing are critical. What about drug testing, like roadside or workplace?
Good question. Roadside saliva tests, the police ones, they don't usually test for opioids directly.
Oh.
But they can detect other things that might be cut into street drugs. So, be aware, workplaces often do test, depending on policy.
And how long do opioids stay detectable?
Depends on the test. Urine, maybe up to 3 days. Blood, similar, up to 3 days. But hair tests.
Longer.
Much longer, up to 90 days.
90 days. Wow. That really leads into the difference between getting something from a pharmacy versus off the street, right?
Absolutely massive difference. Pharmaceuticals are regulated. You know the dose, the purity.
It's all the same.
It's completely unregulated. Counterfeit pills are everywhere. You might think you're getting oxy, but it could be fentanyl or something else entirely. Unknown substances, unknown doses.
So you have absolutely no idea what you're actually taking or how strong it is.
None. It's impossible to know the purity or the dose in that market. Which brings us back to that core principle.
Know your drug practice harm reduction.
Exactly, because knowledge is power, especially here. Understanding these risks is, well, fundamental for safety.
And that's really why we do these deep dives, isn't it? To give you that knowledge, those real insights about complex substances like opioids.
It is. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. In a world overflowing with information, but not all of it reliable, and where substances themselves can be unpredictable, what does making an educated choice truly mean for you? How can this kind of deep understanding empower you personally to prioritize safety, your well-being, in all parts of your life? Something to think about.